All right, so this is the Wolfbot tutorial on exactly how to use this, what we're looking for, how to optimize it to different assets, what even is it. We're going to go over everything in this so that way you understand what you're looking at here. So we're going to first break down the settings, what everything is, so that way you have an understanding of what all of these settings are. So that way when you're manipulating them, you actually know what you're manipulating. You're not just going in here and blindly playing with stuff. So, but most of it is self-explanatory, but I just want to really go over it in depth, right? So the first thing up here is max trades per day. So this is just simply telling you, right? You're telling the bot, I only want you to trade one time a day, 2 times a day, and you will notice if you go down here to the strategy tester, right? Every single thing you alter in here will be uh, it'll reflect down here once you click the enter button. So what I like to do when I'm optimizing the bot, and we'll get into how I like to optimize this later on, is a quicker way is I can sit here and just click the enter button. So if I click one, I'll click enter instead of clicking this OK button down here. Because if you click this OK button, then you got to go back to the setting, and then you'll click two, and then you'll click OK, and then so if you don't want to do that, and if you're just trying to grind out an optimization session, right, where you got about an hour or 2 hours of your free time, because you're going to find out this does take a long time to find good settings if you're looking up a new pair. So if you say you put three, you'll click enter, and then that in itself will refresh this, but you still have the chart here, and you will see how that works. Okay, so then there's a type here. So type, this just changes the type of the pivot points that the bot is using, because again, this bot trades exactly like we do, and how I teach within the trading strategy that I teach and how I trade. So what you'll notice is sometimes you'll find bots and you'll find really good settings with just different types of pivot points. If we go to my active bots that's trading right now, you'll see my UJ bot is actually working really well off of Fibonacci. And then my NASBot is actually working really well off of traditional. So as you're fine tuning these bots, you'll notice that some bots actually are just working way better. Now, this isn't to discount. Now, I want you guys to really understand this. This is not to discount that how we trade is less optimal, because how we trade is manual. Okay, we're looking at way more factors than this bot is, because you can't possibly program into any type of code everything we look at in terms of like news, in terms of all these different things that we look at. Like I like to say, the spot trades about 95% like me, because that other 5% is taking into consideration news. It's taking into consideration all these different consolidation zones. It's taking into consideration everything, right? And I can't possibly put that into a code without it limiting it so much to where the bot never takes trades. So just really keep that in mind. So when you're sitting here playing with this and you find really good settings, don't let that influence you to be like, well, maybe I should start trading on the Woody pivot point or the Fibonacci, right? Because it truly doesn't matter in terms of, because algorithmic trading and manual trading are just two different things. Okay, so just make sure you keep that in mind. The pivot time frame, I would not necessarily ever play with this, because all it's doing is right now where it's set to auto, it's just whatever time frame you look at, it'll set that pivot point time frame to. If you do anything larger than auto, if you start to go to daily or weekly, it'll just make it to where the bot will never take trades, because it's working at such a large time frame. It's just going to be really bad. It's going to create really bad results. So I would just make it stick to auto. And then number of pivot points back, you don't even have to mess with this. This is literally just default within the pivot points of whatever you choose here. So you don't even have to mess with this. This will not alter any type of data here. Okay, so just make sure you keep that in mind. Always keep use daily base values checked, because it's using all this. Trade sessions, okay, pretty self-explanatory. This will be automatically synced to whatever time frame down here that you have check marked on TradingView. So I'm UTC -4, which is the New York Stock Exchange, so New York time frame, EST. So this is showing me 8 a.m. EST, right? So if you're somewhere else, it'll show 8 a.m. there. So make sure you don't have to do any conversions or anything like that. So you can make the bot start at midnight. If you find settings that are good 24/7, right? You wanted a bot to run 24/7 theoretically, you can make it go from midnight, which is 0:00 to 23:45, and now you have a bot running 24/7. As you notice, right? You see all these shaded areas in white? what it will do is it'll draw on your chart when the bot is live. So if you see here, if I manipulate it to start at 6:45 in the morning, you'll see the white shaded areas will shift to 6:45 in the morning right there. And then, wherever I do on the in time frame as well. Trading days of the week, again, self-explanatory. You can go in here and just choose, okay, well, maybe when I trade US 30 on the 15-minute time frame, I'm noticing the bot's taking a lot of losses on Monday. So maybe I'll just turn off Monday, right? And you can start to compare the results. Like right here, we're not obviously playing with anything, but you can see that right now it's 59%. It's made 59%, 48% win rate, 1.3 profit factor. Drawdown's a little high, and my average trade is nowhere near what I usually make, right? But then if I turn off Monday, right, you can see how the results kind of change and vice versa. So I have been playing with this setting. This is the newest setting I've added to the bot, and it has been working very well for me to find even better settings. Now, again, when it comes to overfitting, you never want to focus a lot on this number here. I know it looks cool and it looks sexy that you can have a bot that in the backtesting data it performed and made 59%, right? Or whatever, 100%, 200%. But the thing is, you don't really necessarily care about what it has made as much as how high and how good the win rate is. Is the profit factor profitable? Is the drawdown low? And is this average trade? Is it in like roughly what you would make, right? And to do that, you can go over here to settings, properties. Say you're trading a $100,000 account, turn it down to a $100,000, and you can kind of roughly see, right? Like, are you roughly making this much per trade if you were to use these types of settings? Or you could just see that little 0%. So if you look at one of the bots that I have actually running right here, you'll see that it on average makes around 0.06% or 436 JPY. But again, this is converted into yen. But if we go over here to NAS, right, it's making almost 0.1%. That's usually on average what I make in a full take profit NAS trade. But again, this is working off of if I were to shoot for a 76 profit. As we know, on the manual side, we're shooting for a 50, right? So it's going to be a little less, but this is on par with what I make when I manually trade. Take profit and stop loss and convert it into pips for you. So you just literally will sit here. You can put, start out with like say 50 or 60, whatever. And a good starting point that you guys can start to use when it comes to finding, well, what should I use as far as starting values? This is where indicators come into play. You can add the average New York pips here, go to the 1 hour time frame of whatever asset you're looking at. And you see here it says 290. Okay, so 290 US 30 is bleeding. I better see some more passing accounts in the chat here. Bowie's close. So US 30 on average it moves 290.6, right? So now I know, let's go back to 15 and let's go back here. I know that I could potentially squeeze at least 100, right? We don't want to shoot for the max, right? Because then that's going to be really hard. But if I put 100 pips into here, and I want to start out with a 2 risk reward ratio on the 15-minute time frame, that could be possibly a good starting point, right? And we see here, right, this isn't great, but it's somewhere to start when we're starting to optimize and get these good results. We see that it's a very low win rate, right? But it's in the right direction. You see how the equity curve, yes, it looks terrible, but it's in the right direction. That's how you know you got a really decent starting point, and then you can start playing with this. You can be like, okay, well, what about 80? And then it'll refresh here, and let's see if that improves or makes it worse. Does the equity curve improve or does the equity curve worsen? Okay, so look, you can see now that big red area here is gone. You can see the equity curve has actually increased. You can see the win rate has increased. And then that's how you can just start manipulating this and starting to optimize it. Risk percentage of equity. This is a very important thing I want you guys to understand. All this is going to show you, if I change this to a 2, it's just going to alter the overall percentage of how much you made. That's it. It's not going to alter, it may alter your drawdown a little bit. So if you see, because again, you're trading more percentage of your account. So you see 12, 2, right? But it's not going to make your win rate any better or your profit factor. It's just going to make like these result-based results better because you're trading more of your account. The reason why I like to put this on a 2 It's for my personal preference to get a good idea because I trade 2% on my challenges. And the goal for this account and these bots right now is to pass my challenges, right? Is to pass an actual prop firm and to become funded. Once I become funded, then you can then knock this down to a 1 to see what a funded account most likely how it will perform. But for a 2, that's how I have all of my bots set to. So if you go to my UJ bot, any bot that I have, you'll see it's set to a 2 because that is what currently I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get these accounts passed. You guys are freaking out over US 30. I love it. And then as far as the risk management goes here, so we have 2 really good settings. This is your, if you want the bot to close at the end of session, you'll just toggle it on or off if you don't want to. And you see how that alters performance? And again, this just goes to optimizing the overall bot. Seeing, are you getting better results on average? Again, we're not overfitting in the sense that we're wanting the percentage here to look amazing, but we just want to see overall, is the performance of this bot increasing? And you can see that the equity curve alters slightly. You can see the profit factor lowers just a little bit. You can see how the results just get better when we just hold the trades overnight. So maybe for this setting, we just let the bot trade hold trades overnight. This is your trailing profit. Okay, so your trailing stop loss. So what this is doing when it's not turned on, obviously, it's not going to be trailing. And you can see the results now are starting to become better. So we're kind of doing a little mini optimization test while we're doing just the tutorial here. But you can see how this goes when you're trying to find those good results. So you set the stops to, okay, so if you turn this on and you want to find a bot setting that trails stop losses, okay, if that's your goal, what this is going to do is when this is in, say, oh, so look at that. One of my bots took a trade there. So when this bot is in, say, 10 pips in profit, and again, make sure you reference your take profits. So if your full take profit's 80, right, you don't want to put 80 here because then that's just going to be your full take profit. So like, let's say you're 2/3 of the way to getting to your full 80, right? That would be around 26. So if we do 26, once it's like a third or 2/3, let's do 2/3, that'd be 53. So 2/3 of the way to the full take profit, I want you to then make it a risk-free trade. That's what 0 would be. You see how the results are starting to become way better? The win rate's improving, the profit factor is improving, the drawdown is a little lower than when we started, the average trade's a little better. But let's say we don't want it to be break even. Let's say we want to actually lock in some profits when we hit that 53 pip movement. So then let's say we'll take 20, right? This will now move the stop loss to 20 pips in profit. Good night, 13. Congratulations once again. And then now, anytime this price starts to break back down after 53 and it hits that 20, it's gonna close out the trade. And we can see this being printed live on our chart, so we don't have to guess that it's working. So you see how on the chart, it prints your risk management for you. This is another thing I'm super proud of that this bot does, is it prints this little long tool is printing on your chart. So as soon as it moved 53 pips, and let's measure this out here. So let's paint this on here. Let's do 53 right there. As soon as that candle, look what happened. It took this stop loss and pulled it into profit right here. So now, say you're watching the chart as this trade is playing out, you can then mimic this bot if you're using it for alerts. So that way you're copying exactly what the bot is doing, right? And then the last thing is the table. So I want to shout out one of our community members, Dizzy. Dizzy is an amazing coder within PineScript here, and they made this chart. So you see this little dot here. So it does sometimes take about, I'd say, 5 minutes to load after every single time you mess with the settings. So we'll just give it a couple seconds to load here, and I'll get into optimization. But I'm sure you guys seen at the beginning of this recording, and if you're watching this live, just go back and watch the recording. But if you're watching the recording, just go back a little bit. There was a chart that appeared. We can even go to my bot, and you'll be able to see right here. So this is the chart, right? This is just another thing that I was playing with. This isn't the actual bot that we're working with, but you can see right here what this does is once you find the settings that you really like, you can sit here and look month over month of performance, right? So if, this is actually a good money saver. So if you don't want to pay like the obnoxious fees TradingView has for the highest tier that you have, because you have to get the highest tier possible to get access to this deep back testing here. And all this deep back testing is once you click it, you can then set a range. So you can literally go to the first day in history of 2003 to today, and you can click generate report, and you can literally pull up super deep back testing data of the current settings that you have. It's okay, right? But you don't want to go super far back because, guys, market conditions change, price action changes, right? Seasons in the market change. So you don't want to go back super far and be like, yeah, my bot did 500% in 4 years, right? Because 4 years was 4 years ago. We care about the current market climate. And so, anywhere around a year is about as max as I personally like to look back. You see how long it's taking to. So instead of sitting here doing this deep back testing, and if you do want to get month over month performance for deep back testing, you'd have to do 31 and then go to June, July, the first day of July, click generate report. And then this will show you that month over month performance. So whatever settings I have here, right, it lost 2.1% with this. So this gives you that. You can go over here and you can just use Dizzy's little chart that he gave me access to put into the code. And you can see, look, it actually gives you the month over month performance. So it was down here. You can confirm here it's down on the chart. So you can kind of see and you can hover over and it'll give you the actual percentages of whatever month you're looking at, instead of having to pay more money to get this month ability to look what month over month it's making. So again, this just shows you. Did my bot take profit here? Looks like my bot got stopped out live. I'm telling you guys, my bot knows when I'm live streaming. When I'm doing content of any sort, it knows. It likes to embarrass me. My UJ bot did lock in profit. So here's an example of you guys are seeing live in the recording. The bot locking in a little bit of profit as it is getting out of a trade. So you can see here, this white shaded area is when the bot's turned on, right? So that at the end of that 11:45 candle, because I have it set to 11:45, at the end of that 11:45 candle, it'll close out the trade of wherever it's at. So yeah, it's not the best profit, but it also can save you from getting a lot of losses. So yes, this is a disgusting looking risk reward ratio, right? But it still locked in a little bit of profit while it was done for the day, right? Because these settings are the best settings that I could find for forward testing data and back testing data without overfitting and making it super specific to back testing data. So with that being said, that is the settings here. If you want to change where this chart is, you can do all of these different settings here. The bottom center will be the default, which will be right here. But you can change this to where it'll appear anywhere. You can change the background color, the border, what the bars look like. You can change all that. Properties, nothing you really got to alter in properties other than the initial capital. If you want to see roughly how much this bot would make you on a $100,000 account, or let's say you wanted to see what a 50K account would do in terms of drawdown and the overall historical performance. But like I said, guys, do not get too hung up on this historical performance here. So then you see here, given these settings, if you started at day one, it would have made 62 grand, almost 63 grand on this 50K account. But all I'm saying is you can change this initial capital just to kind of get a rough idea based on your specific prop firm settings and your prop firm account sizes. Let's see. Other than that, the only other thing I want to show you guys is optimizing. So somebody brought up a really good point. Shout out to Illust. Yeah, Illust says there's a Google Chrome extension that auto sweeps settings for you. There are a few really good Google Chrome auto extensions. So if you do want to download them, to do back testing like optimization for you, there's one that's really good. It's called David Tech's TradingView Optimizer. Okay, so let me do a screenshot, and I'll even make sure to get it logged here in the recording. I'm sure there's other ones, but this one has been the one that I've used and I've found pretty good success with. But it's still a little buggy, but it can give you good starting points if you want to. But guys, I would just recommend doing it by yourself. You don't have to use it. So if you're watching the recording, you'll see this live right here, David Tech's TradingView Optimizer. Google that and you'll find it. It's free to download. If you're watching this live, I will share that in the group right now. Check the pack chat. That's what it looks like. It's just, it's a little buggy. I wouldn't personally use it long term. I would just, if you do want to have some type of resource like that. But I mean, you guys seen how quick it took just to use the average New York PIP indicator in addition to getting to know the asset that you're trading, and then just starting to find another thing, right? So another really important thing to find just a starting point for your overall data to input into the settings is where is whatever asset you're looking at the most volatile, right? So if you type in sessions on chart and say you're looking for a pair in the Australian time frame, the Australian market. Let's type in Sydney. Let's get rid of everything else. And then you're just looking at an asset strictly in the Sydney session. Okay, so in the Sydney session, let's turn off the bot real quick. You'd be like, okay, well, in this session, where is just the most volatility, right? Let's just simulate. I know we're on US 30. Let's just simulate we're looking at Austin Clark stock, right? Well, I see that Austin Clark stock actually not in the Sydney, but I see it here around the New York session. It's the most volatile. So now you can turn the bot on. You can go and just as a starting point, we're already at 645 here. Let's close out the trades at say 1600 of when it's looking for trades. And you can see that already kind of greatly improved the overall performance for this specific bot on US 30, right? And this is actually decent data. I kind of accidentally found really good settings for US 30 on the 15-minute time frame. So this is pretty funny. But so you can use this as a starting point right here. But you can see how once you find when it's the most volatile, you can start your starting and stop time for when the bot turns on and off, in addition to everything else here with the average pip movement. Then you can start with your tick profit and stop loss in pips, and that's how you can find your starting point. But then, like I said, guys, when you optimize them, do not make it to where you're just overfitting in the aspect that you're trying to make the back testing data look amazing. What you're looking for is you're looking at the win rate. Is the win rate decently good? Like, I don't like anything below a 50 or like a 45. Like, I know my NASBot's hovering around a 48 to 50% win rate, but that's okay because the results have been really good forward test wise. But if you find a bot that is doing, say it does like 200 or 300%, but the win rate's like 20%, we don't want that, right? Like, yeah, maybe the math will work out long term, but we don't want to sit and take 2 out of 10 wins. No one wants that. Like, let's get at least a 45 to 50% win rate. That's bare minimum. Profit factor. What the profit factor shows you is for every $1 that bot loses and that strategy loses, you're making $1.46. Okay, in this aspect. So the profit factor, anything above a 1 is really good. Drawdown, I like to see anywhere a drawdown. I like to see single digit drawdowns. Anything below a 10% is pretty good in my opinion. The average trade will vary depending on the asset you're looking at. So really just look at the percentage here. Again, don't get hung up on the dollars because that's just showing how much you would make in relation to the properties tab here with the initial capital. So just understand that this isn't super important in the grand scheme of things. Just compare this to what you're on average making per trade and seeing if that's close or not, right? Because you want a bot that trades like you when it comes to using this system. You can also look at the average bars in trades just to get a general idea on whatever asset you're looking at, how long it takes to either get out of a trade via a take profit or a stop loss, but that doesn't really matter in terms of optimizing it. And you want to have at least 100 trades. Okay, so this is another thing to take note of. When you guys are optimizing this bot, make sure you have at least 100 trades. If you have, say, 60 trades and you have all this good data, that's not really good long term, right? Because 60 trades isn't that much. I would even argue 100 trades isn't that much. But if you find some good settings and you're getting at least 100 trades, that's okay. But if you want to go like really A plus looking bot, this is honestly, I know I did this for demonstration purposes, but this is, and it's really funny, but we actually just created a really good bot setting literally by accident. This is something I don't have saved. I'm actually saving these inputs. So if you want to take a screenshot of this screen and start here on US 30, you could use this for your US 30 settings. I just don't like the drawdown. That's a little high, so I'd play with it just a little bit more with the drawdown. So all we would do to try to lower this drawdown is let's see if we can lower our profit just a little bit to take profit a little sooner without ruining all the data. So you see how the drawdown's increasing. So then I would go back to 80. Let's try 81. We can even go and buy intervals of 1. So it's still 15. Let's go to 82. 83. And you guys see how long and boring this will be, right? And then you just keep on increasing until you see some type of performance drop off. So you see how now it's at 14.49. The win rate still is good. The profit factor is actually improved. I'm not really, it's good that it made 129%, but I'm not sitting here focusing on trying to make this a better number, right? That's when you're going to get into the dangerous area of overfitting. I'm also looking at the performance summary. I want to see a Sharpe ratio of at least a 1. Okay, and again, what a Sharpe ratio is how smooth is this equity curve? Okay, so an equity curve that's smooth with a Sharpe ratio above a 1 is showing you that this bot is actually very consistent. Because if you have an equity curve in any given scenario, whether you're automatically trading or manually trading, if you have an equity curve that looks like this, right, this means you're all over the place. This means you're not consistent. You're making a bunch of wins, but then you're making a bunch of losses. You're going everywhere. But if you have an equity curve that looks like this, right, you're consistent over a large period of time. And that's what we look for as traders in general, but especially when you're algorithmically trading. And now you see Dizzy's chart pulled up here, and then you can get good data. Never let just one red month scare you out of a good data set too, because you're going to have red months just like you're going to have red weeks. Like you're never going to find a bot that's making 20% every month. That's impossible. We have different market conditions. Now, again, I took a lot of time to find the settings that I have for, I think I used to have, oh, here we go. I took a lot of time to find the settings that I do have for these bots. And again, even US 500 bot, it's been suffering for the summer, but that's just the summer months. I'm not going to sit here and change this because the summer months was a little bad. You know what I mean? So same thing with NASDAQ down here. You can see that NASDAQ almost month over month has been very good. Had 2 red months, but that's fine. It's going to have those losing. That's why we diversify. And I like to use this one, UJ. UJ has not had a red month. It's actually August being the first potentially red month, but it's still right at break even, so it's whatever. So you can use that just to kind of get a feel for how consistent that bot is in relation to the Sharpe ratio, in relation to all this, right? In relation to all this data. So yeah, I mean that's how we do. I have any questions? So now I'll kind of open the floor up if we have anybody that wants to unmute. Tag me in the pack chat if you don't want to use your microphone, because I'm sure some people may have questions as they're watching the tutorial as well. I'll give you guys a few minutes. And while we get some questions, so one thing I want you guys to understand is this bot, these can solve a multitude of your problems. Okay, so problem number one that this solves is you are using this to screen assets. Okay, the main motivation for why I created this bot was so that way I could screen how I trade across multiple different pairs and get alerts like, hey, US 30 is about to US 30 is presenting a short opportunity. NASDAQ's presenting a short, whatever. So that's what my initial goal was, but also to just see how profitable is this trading style long term. And you can see this trading style is very profitable on multiple pairs. So say you've always wanted to trade asset XYZ, you can come here and play with the settings on different time frames, on different, and that's another thing too, guys. You can play with different time frames. It doesn't have to be the 15-minute. I've just noticed you can get a lot of really good results from the 15-minute. Another challenge I want to give you guys is if you can find a 5-minute bot setting, you won the national trophy of the Wolfpack Trade Group of the best bot trader, because I can't at all. Like, this looks okay, right? But it's only 102 trades. Like, it is what it is. But yeah, 15-minute just looks way better, right? And way more data. So that's another thing you can play with that can alter the performance and stuff. But yeah, you can use this in a multitude of ways. You can also use this just to actually just chart for you. You know what I mean? You can have this on your chart and you don't even have to draw your pivot line in your New York close because it does it for you right on your screen. And the only other thing you have to add is the pivot indicator. And then you can even, if you want to like let the bot trade in the background for you while you're trading normally, right? You can sit here and watch for trades. And if the bot prints a trade on your screen, you can be like, okay, is this a viable trade? And then you can make a decision on what you want to do. So you can use this on the background of your main trading chart if you wanted to. If you don't like all the noise and stuff, I would understand that. But you can also go to style and you can turn off some of this stuff. So you can turn off labels. If you don't want this chart pulling up here, you can turn off the table here. You can turn off trades on chart if you don't want to see that. If you don't want to see the box. If you don't want to see the signal label, but you just want to see the little marker, you can do that. If you don't want to see the quantity and you just want to see the arrows pointing on the chart, you can do that. Yeah, so let's see. We got some questions now. RZ, these bots. So the ability to plot this on your chart is going to be available today. I'm going to give you all access here in a few minutes because I just wanted to make sure you guys got access to this and understand it before I give you access. Mr. H, how do you connect it to your trading account on MT5? You guys will not have that ability. This will not be passively trading for you. Okay, I want to make that abundantly clear. This is not access for you to then trade passively. Okay, so this is giving you the ability to get alerts. This is giving you, yes, Dando. So yeah, that answers your question. Can it give you alerts? Yes. And if you want to get alerts, so say you finally find a setup, you finally find settings that work for you on the asset that you've been analyzing using this, right? So now you want to get alerts because you're really happy with this. You click this little add alert button. You can leave this all the same if you want. If you want the alert to tell you exactly what it's doing, like in the Wolfbot channel, you can delete all of this here and just leave the following. So you can leave the order, and then this code here will tell you if it's getting in a long or a short. It'll say buy or sell at. You can delete this if you want. It's just telling you how many contracts it's selling, but again, that doesn't really matter. Field on, this will say US 30 or whatever chart you have it set to, and then it'll say the new strategy position is, and again, this will just say a strategy size, and it'll say this little 20 here because again, that's just the simulated stuff. So if you literally just wanted to say buy or sell on whatever asset, you could literally delete the strategy order contracts, and then you could just have it say order strategy order action at ticker, whatever, and then delete the contract size. So if you really just wanted it to tell you buy or sell at what ticker, you could just do this right here where it says order. And if you ever are confused about any of this code stuff, you can obviously ask me, but you can also click this little question mark button, and they'll give you what all these alerts mean if you want to learn what that is. And then you'll click create. You can name it. So you can name it Austin's super cool amazing bot for US 30, and then you'll click create, and every single time you'll get an alert, it'll say Austin super cool amazing bot for US 30, buy US 30 or sell US 30 because we're in a downtrend right now or whatever. Can you get the bot to auto trade for you? Okay, so I hope I answered your question with that, Riggs. No, this currently will not auto trade for you. The service that I'm creating is based on the fundamentals of this bot. Okay, where in the future I'm going to offer you all the ability. Hopefully, I can partner with Alpha Capital to do that. Where you guys are going to have the ability in the future. And again, this will be extra because this is a lot more expensive to do, and I'm going to have more expenses, and I also want to be paid for my time. So this will be an extra expense if you guys want this, and you guys will literally just pay me a fee, and I will again, I'll have to know what that fee is when I have a realistic expenses of how much this will all cost me. In addition to, I will work out an agreement of a very small percentage of the revenue that this bot generates. Because again, this is my IP, this is my creation. I want to make sure I'm rewarded for all this time and energy it's going to take. And it won't be anything crazy. I was thinking about 10 to 20% of whatever you make, right? So if your profit share is say 80%, net 80% of that, say you share 20% with me, right? Or whatever I find in addition in relation to the expenses, whatever that is. I don't know any of these numbers. I'm just giving you guys estimates based on what this would cost me. And what this is solving, right, is you the ability to not mess with any of this. You're just paying me a fee, hooking up your account to this stuff, and then it's trading for you passively on your behalf, and you don't do anything. Danny down 14% would lose the account. Are you talking about the drawdown? No. This type of drawdown is different than like what the drawdown of a daily drawdown or a max drawdown, because where this is only taking a couple trades a day, again, you would have to lose a ton to hit the actual max daily drawdown or the max drawdown of a prop firm. So yeah, I just saying I don't like to have anywhere above a 10 because it's just this max drawdown is calculated differently. If you want to learn that, right, the greatest loss opposed to the greatest loss of the strategy with the highest profits, right? So it's just doing a different type of drawdown calculation. This isn't the same calculation the drawdown of prop firms use. So VBPA, I hope I answered your question too about trading your own capital. Danny, if you turn those off, is that just visually? What do you mean, Danny? Kayla tried to trade crypto with the bots. Yeah, I found a pretty decent Ethereum setting. But yeah, you can play with it. I haven't really spent a bunch of time trying to find different crypto pairs. But yeah, this works with any asset. If you type in, say, Matic, it's a pretty famous crypto pair. This will trade crypto too, right? So wow, look at that. Pretty decent win rate right there, right? But it's only 56 trades, right? So this is an example, like, yeah, the data looks great, but it's only done 56 trades. So is that really good long term? Probably. Who knows, right? Yes, Dando, it can give you alerts. Gibbo, should you be funded to start using this, or you're just starting out with a few hundred to trade with would be good. So I'm personally running this bot as kind of a proof of concept for the service, like I was just talking about down the road that I'm going to do for you guys. I'm currently running this bot on a couple different prop accounts, like challenges wise, not live funded accounts, to pass and be it funded. So you guys can do with the alerts and stuff with what you will. I can't tell you what you should do with your own money and prop accounts and all that. Alls, don't most prop disallow this type of trading? Yes, if you're talking about like group type of trading, yes. That's why I'm trying to get a partnership with ACG. Now, if that doesn't work, okay, so if I can't get a prop firm to partner with me to allow me to have 20 to 30 members under me to use a bot and hook it up to a singular strategy, I will just go with my Forex Funds or FTMO. Because at the end of the day, those prop firms are so large and so massive. 20 to 30 people doing this is not that big of a deal. I'm just going to be real with you. There's many bot trading bullcrap prop passing firm things out there, services, and they're terrible and they're bad and they'll accept thousands of people and then the quality will dwindle. People will get flagged, people will get banned, all that stuff. I'm like I said, guys, I'm literally only going to be doing 20 to 30 people. Like, this is not going to be massive. This is not going to be a whole business conglomerate. This is going to be an additional thing that you all potentially, if I can get this up and running, you all will have access to at an additional cost, and it's only going to be available for the Wolfpack. I'm not opening this up to the public. I've already made that decision. I think there's enough demand here. And let me know in the chat. You know, let me know right now. Just be honest. Would you guys want that type of service if I do put in the groundwork and build it? Because again, that's another thing, right? I don't want to put in all this work and maybe have 2 people that are interested. And I'll still do it, but it's like I'd like to see a decent amount of people that would be interested. Okay, so you guys are in. Okay, so you guys are actually interested. So yeah. Snipey with the group capped like this at 60. I would happily pay extra to keep the group closed and exclusive. What does the pack think? Absolutely. That's the key to running bots. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? The reason why you guys are seeing so many of these bot companies and bot XYZs not become successful, in a bunch of other reasons. They probably suck at risk management. They probably suck at actually optimizing a bot. Their strategy is probably terrible, right? There's a lot of other factors, but another one is they're just money hungry. Guys, I'm not money hungry. Like, I'm not sitting here trying to build a giant business off of trading without trading. Like, I'm not trying to make money from you guys. I'm just trying to make a group of the most elite traders out there. And I think that's one of my biggest advantages above all is I'm not sitting here trying to make tons of money because I make plenty of money trading. And that's what a lot of these gurus and these groups out here can't do and can't compete with me because they don't make a lot of money trading, actually. They actually suck at trading, most of them anyways, and they're just trying to make as much money as they can from you guys. I don't need that. I don't need to do that. So it's like the competition is actually extremely easy for me because I'm not, my goal isn't my bottom dollar. My goal is to literally transform you guys because just like today, so for those of you watching the recording, we have had a 3-day win streak. We've had people today passing prop accounts. Like, that's amazing. That's what rewards me, and I'm totally fine, you know, not making as much money as I can off you guys because that's not my goal. So I hope I beat that with a dead horse there. Danny, the toggles that you were clicking on and off, if you return those off, is that just visual? Oh, I got you. Yes. So if I go into the settings, Danny, and anybody else that was wondering, if I go into here and I turn this off, this won't turn the bot off. No. None of this stuff will turn the bot off. The bot will still be running. If you create an alert, and here's another cool thing. If you find settings like this that work and you click create an alert here, and you say remove this from your chart, you click this little X button, that alert will still be running in the background. Now, if you ever forget the setting, that's why if you find good settings, guys, take screenshots of these settings, drop them in the pack chat so I can save them for you. And I'm going to make a new channel called Bot Settings. And we're going to archive all the really good settings in there. And I'm going to verify that they're good, right? Make sure that it's all good. So people can then rely on that channel to go and find other good settings. So when you guys find good settings, screenshot it, share it in the pack chat so we all can benefit from it. And then, you know, you can do whatever you want, right? Because the last thing that would really suck to happen is if you accidentally delete this from your chart and now you don't know where any of your good settings are. And you got to go and play with it again. Okay, yeah, you guys are agreeing you would like this service. Danny says yes, closed. Willing to pay. Dando, most bots I've used in the past, this is a great point. He says, most bots I've used in the past, they've had a load of small wins and one massive loss. That's the beauty with this trading bot. You guys know the secret sauce. The secret sauce is my system, my strategy. So we can lose 2, 3, 4 times, make a couple losses, make back the losses plus profit. You know what I mean? And I can even show you with empirical data that it doesn't lie. Here's the settings of the bot that I just made because this uses the exact system that we trade on. Okay, so this is 15-minute time frame, US 30. These are actually pretty decent settings that I just optimized in front of you guys. you go to list of trades to look at the trades of every one of them that printed on the screen here. Look at this. It took 3 losses in a row. This was a trade it probably closed out of because the session ended, right? But look at the wins. One win is $1,700, or if you don't want to go by the dollars, because it'll all be different depending on how much money you input in the setting, but go off the percentage. It makes 0.24% in a trade, loses 0.14%. That's because we have good risk management, right? So 3 losses, so that's $3,000. It made it back in 2 trades, and now net profit in 3 trades. So I totally sympathize with that, Dando, because I've used plenty of bots myself. All right, let's all congratulate Bowie for holding that trade out. 2.6 R. Bro, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
It really
Indo,
wasn't.
Do what?
It was 2.5 pip away, Austin. I swear. I had my take profit set. It scratched it and then went back.
Hey, you still killed it today. That's awesome. With the trade you made today, I am in agreement with you paying extra to keep the group closed. Yeah, let Snipey be another testament. Snipey has been with the group since like day 2 or day 3. Like, and Snipey's over here freaking slinging stacks. So, yeah. What did I miss about more money? Yeah, we're all I'm charging you, Roostar, like $200 a month now for the group. So that's what we've agreed. We're going to be changing the monthly price to. It is $200. Everybody agreed to it in the chat. No, I'm totally joking, Roostar. See, Roostar was just like, yeah, absolutely. Totally. No. I was talking about the additional bot service. So, and I think I've been really clear anyways. Like, I don't think I've ever said it was going to be free, but I just really want to make it abundantly clear for expectation management. It will be an additional service, and I was just talking about asking if anybody else would be down for that. And many people said they would, so that's what we were talking about. All right, but if no one else has any other questions, we want to stop the recording. We can talk for a little bit more if you guys want to, and then I will be done for the day. So stop recording.